I've been trying to find the Wolverine for over a year.
It's not who I am anymore.
My employer wants to say thank you for saving his life all those years ago.
Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. Today is for The Wolverine, directed by James Mangold, and of course stars Hugh Jackman as Logan, aka the Wolverine. Now this is technically a sequel to X-Men The Last Stand because it does take place after that and it involves Logan dealing with the events of that film. But in terms of the overall universe, this is its own standalone film. In other words, this is just one particular story in Logan's life that is just specific to him, not to any of the other X-Men, which kind of is a cool way to take it because they tried to do that with X-Men Origins, but we know how that turned out. And in this one, we have Logan, who after the events of X-Men 3 and, the whole tragedy with Jean Grey, he is pretty much a recluse. He's lives in the forest. He's got like this Jean Valjean hair, and he gets picked up by this Asian girl. I'm forgetting her name at the moment. The guy that he saved many years ago wants to repay him and says he can offer him mortality because obviously being immortal has its benefits, but a lot of it also is pretty bad knowing that everyone you love is going to die around you. So he offers him mortality, and it's basically this whole journey that Wolverine discovers himself, and does he really want to be able to die, or should he still be living on? The Wolverine is an ambitious movie, and while I think it generally succeeds, it is a little bit of a mess at some points. Hugh Jackman, again, owns the role of Logan. He is, again, fantastic here. Could be his best performance as the character because you really understand everything the guy is going through. You feel his pain, his anger, but also he cracks some witty one-liners like he always does. So there's just always that good balance of kind of dark humor and just personal anguish, which he conveys really well. And all the Japanese actors whose names I'm not even going to say because I will just butcher them all, but I really liked the girl that was kind of his sidekick or bodyguard, as she refers to him in the movie, because she was a badass. Another thing I like about this movie, there's a lot of female characters in this movie, and all of them are really strong. They could kick ass. They're not like, none of them seem like damsels in distress, and a lot of this had really strong female characters, which is something you don't see often, especially in a superhero film. And while it is a superhero film, the film has a nice balance of character development and drama with action, and the action scenes are really well directed for the most part. There's not a lot of shaky cam, and especially in the first half of this movie, there's a whole shootout and a whole sequence on a bullet train that were really well shot and really entertaining. And this movie does take place in Japan for the whole thing, and I thought the Japan setting really added to the whole story, this kind of fish out of water story, and I thought it was just a really interesting place to take the character. The film does get really messy in the third act, as the third act gets really silly. There's this whole thing with the Silver Samurai, which I won't get into, but it just kind of comes out of nowhere, especially for the first 2/3 of this movie. Is pretty grounded in reality and is more of a character study. The last half gets really comic booky, which I really wouldn't mind, but it's just so over the top and silly that it just kind of got distracting. One of the villains in here, Viper, who is I think the only other mutant actually in this movie, she was a really weak villain. I don't know if it was a mixture of the dialogue that she was given or just the actress herself, but she came off a little cheesy and just overall wasn't a very memorable or strong villain. And the film does drag a little bit in the middle, and I did see this film kind of around midnight, so I don't know if just because I was a little tired, but there are some points where the film did kind of seem to drag. Nothing to where I was bored, but I felt like they could have picked it up because there were some character exchanges that felt either repetitive or the dialogue wasn't too interesting. If you're looking for just a good character study and a good summer movie, I think The Wolverine is for you, especially if you wanted something that definitely improves over the crappiness of X-Men Origins. I think you're going to be happy. Or if you just want to see Famke Jensen run around in a nightgown. This is a solid movie. Like I said, if it fixed up the messy third act and had a little bit better villains and maybe even a little bit of better dialogue here and there, I think this could have been the real Wolverine movie that we all could love. But for right now, it's just really solid, and I would definitely say check it out if you're a fan of the character. So I'll give The Wolverine 3.5 stars out of 5. You saw the movie, what did you know? I'm guessing you liked it more than X-Men Origins, but let me know what is your favorite X-Men movie, and if you like this review, please subscribe for more because that really does help, and I'll see you guys later.
Eternity can be a curse. A man can run out of things to live for. That day ain't here yet.